Hi, I'm Jaclyn Luongo. I'm so excited to be doing our first podcast for Beauty Tomorrow. And I'm here with my bestie, Torrie. I can't wait to have her tell you more about her story, and we'll probably share how we met and what brought us here today. I have a passion for the beauty industry. I'm a mom of a 13-year-old amazing daughter, and I'm really excited to share women supporting other women, empowering each other, beauty tips, and self love. So, Torrie, say hi.
Hey, I'm excited to be here too. This is so out of my comfort zone, but I'm glad that you forced me. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Tori, and this is so far out of my comfort zone, but I'm thankful to be here. And I own Dollface here in Boston, and it's grown so much, and I have so much pride for my Dollface brand. And I've got a lot of things coming up on the horizon. I think that we have so much to talk about. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. I can't think of a better person to do this with, for sure. Our story began, I was your instructor at an aesthetic school, and we just clicked as soul sisters.
I
And
know. I thought you were a real adult the whole time. It was so weird. I was like, oh, she's so official. She's a real adult.
I'm still not a real adult, but okay.
You weren't even that much older than
I
me,
know,
but you would wear your little Burberry scarves and your red lipstick, and you just knew how to show up and rock your role.
Absolutely. It's about posture, it's about that confidence. And that is something we need to teach our daughters. That's a really, really big piece. And my red lipstick always makes me feel more confident.
Totally,
So,
totally. It's part of your costume.
absolutely. And you put that on and you can crush anything. So I want us to teach our daughters that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that I always compliment you on is that you know how to show up and always dress right and look right for the part. And I think it kind of honestly does put you in character, not in a phony way, but just in an honest way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that confidence, when you look good, beauty industry and why we use makeup, why we use skincare or hair care products, because when you look good, you feel good and you're giving your best self forward. And that's something that I'm trying to teach Sophia from the beginning is having that confidence, having that poise, really having the inner self worth that what you have is amazing and to share it. And that, we both want each other to be successful. We support each other. And we know that there's opportunity for so many people around us to have that same experience and to celebrate each other's wins. And that's the point of all of this. And especially through pandemic, I know that we don't want to harp on that, but it's a really big part of what really brought us to this idea to be ready for it. 2 years ago, I wrote a book about successful selling in the beauty industry, and same thing with manifesting through this whole time. The growth that you've had with Dollface and the momentum that you're gaining, and now your next chapter for Dollface is huge. And we were in our roads FaceTiming through lockdown and through our, the whole pandemic, dreaming about this. And, here we are making our dreams come true and teaching our daughters, teaching other women out there that, you can achieve your dreams, which is such a big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that we've learned so much through this time, and I know that a lot of people talk about that, but we really have. And I think that all of us needed that time to kind of refocus and recenter our energy and um, prioritize. I think priorities are huge, they're personal to all of us. And I know that I needed your pep talks so bad some days. I think we kind of fed off of each other during pandemic time or quarantine time specifically. It was like I had my low days and then you would have your low days and we would kind of just pep talk each other through each of them. And we're such polar opposites in so many ways too, which I think that we really feed off of, like you're type A, I'm type B. Um, and I think we both need each other, to ground ourselves in one way or another. I needed your pep talk last night. A layout, make a plan. You're getting overwhelmed, you're getting ahead of yourself. And I needed that.
Absolutely. I think there's a yin and yang to really good, solid friendships that, or relationships in general. And I think that that's definitely what we support each other with. And we have that polarity. I think that's pretty amazing. I remember the first time after seeing you for 3 months, it was epic. It was the most fun. It was, almost like coming out of, a shell, and that was inspiring too, because it was something we were looking forward to. And you're right, we support each other because all of us, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say that you're not okay, and to share, what some of those weaknesses were just at that moment, because we talk about this all the time. This is temporary.
Yeah.
From, what's happening right now in the world, and how do we look at it as, the glass half full? How do we look at it with gratitude and gratefulness that we have each other and the people around us, and, bringing in only those positive things, and being vulnerable, being brave? Those are all courageous things. And it's, again, lessons to teach each other and to learn from each other and to teach our daughters. It's such a big deal. And I'm a true believer of those little baby steps and batching time and manifesting what you want, write it down, and slowly make that plan. Kind of see it in your future, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days, 5 years from now. Where are we going to be? We already know where we're going to be in August when you have that baby.
Yes, right here with a mimosa in hand. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So I feel like we talk a lot about the lessons and things that we want to teach our daughters. What would you say is one of the biggest things that you want to teach London?
Ooh, there's so many things. I think about it every day. What are important things to kind of lead with and focus on? And I want her to be her most authentic self. And I think that one theme that I see that's so different from how we grew up versus how they're growing up in this generation, and it's this um, social media life. It's this kind of constant visibility. And I think that I suffer from it too. You know, as soon as I know that there's a camera on me, I clam up, my voice changes, I get so weirdy, where I am truly, I think, a really authentic person in real life, you know, with the people that I'm comfortable with. But it's something about the camera that just really changes me. And my daughter doesn't have that. It's like she walks around like, can you freeze the memory of my camera so I can keep taking selfies and videos of myself? But I also want her to do it from an authentic lens, because I think like our kids are watching so much YouTube and it's bizarre, but it's cool in another way, you know? And I really just want her to lead with authenticity always, and, you know, not focus on who is looking, or judgment or things like that. And I think that I almost sympathize with them, because I think that their life will be so different because of that one element. And I know a lot of us are kind of focused on that for our kids. And, you know, I just think of all the crazy things that I did in my life. And if they were, you know, on camera, right, I'm like, ooh, that would
That
be awkward.
that's true. And that does make a lot of sense to just being conscious of that. And I look at even some of the social media as a positive too, because I find it a way for us to support each other, and it is a great way that we can have that positive aspect if we make it that way, and don't let it control us, or really give us that be the reason and the driving force, doing something for social media purposes. It's just a wonderful thing that it's an added bonus to be able to support or promote or whatever it is. And I agree. I think that the one thing that's important with my Miss Sophia is, just even today, she told me I looked like Grace from Grace and Frankie. I don't think I really do that much, but maybe a little bit of the collar pop.
What a good character to channel, though. You're so Grace. I'm so Frankie.
Absolutely. So I don't want to break her spirit. And, whether she's humorous and light and just has this energy and confidence about her, I just always want her to have that. And like you said, be yourself, be true to yourself, and stand up straight, and have that confidence to take on the world, and to know that you can do it and that there might be fails, there might be wins, but celebrate all of them as lessons. And I think that that's a great first start. And even with YouTube or social media, these girls have an advantage. And I think the advantage is they're learning how to do makeup right. Because I definitely fucked up my makeup when I was in junior high.
Amen.
Junior high, high school. I had an aunt that taught me sometimes, but I really didn't get to know it until I really got into aesthetic school 22 years ago.
Well, isn't it interesting too how we're both makeup artists and our journeys in artistry are so different than new artists and estheticians coming up because they have such a wealth of knowledge and such different resources. And it's like I always talk about girls that ask me about my journey, and I really started off as a makeup artist. It's always been my true passion, and it still is. It's my favorite service, and in all transparency, it's not my most lucrative service, but in my heart, it's my favorite, and it's just funny. Like, I used all MAC products because we had a MAC on Newbury Street, or not even, I think I went to Chestnut Hill. Like, who feels like it? And, I got my little professional discount, and they would maybe do like a professional class in Boston, like once a year if you were lucky. But that was really the only resources that we had. We didn't have any of the rest of it, and it was really trial and error. And I mean, nowadays, it's like so much information at their fingertips with everything too,
And when I was a teenager, I didn't really have the opportunity to understand and the education behind ingredients and what was good for your skin that didn't cause acne or didn't, cause clogging and breakouts. So, they have a huge advantage. And I know that my daughter has learned from YouTube and from videos. And I think that that is a positive piece to what social media does bring to them and what looks good. Because I definitely used to have the line of demarcation. My foundation didn't match when I first started doing makeup. And I definitely kind of defined my eyes too much and just didn't enhance the features the way that we now know how to do as makeup artists. But I also think that, girls that age that are learning makeup are really, really talented at doing these beautiful looks that we never had the opportunity to learn.
Well, and they have kind of that facet of an outlet where they can kind of share their expertise and grow from that too. And you're absolutely right, because I think that we spend so much time shitting on social media and it makes us just sound old realistically.
Yeah.
um, and the reality is that I really talk about how much of an asset it is to my business. I mean, we're in the penthouse right now, my studio currently, and I can't imagine what we would be without Instagram, because it's such a huge vehicle that's driving new clients to us. And we're about to have lots of face value in our neighborhood, but right now we've got this perfect little kind of like treetop oasis, and we're nestled right into a bustling neighborhood, and people don't even know. I mean, we get new clients every day that are like, who knew you were here? And I really have to give all the thanks to social media. It's about having a healthy relationship with it, though.
Absolutely. And I think that there's a balance, just like with anything, from when we were, in pandemic and not obsessing over more than, something for too long and moving on. And like you said, prioritizing, batching that out. And I also think at some point in one of our segments that we should do some fun before and afters because, again, with Sophia's humor, she's put us on a group text of when my eyebrows didn't look like they look right now. And they look like this now thanks to Torrie and microblading. And so I think that some of those stories, down the road we'll talk about because that's valuable. And I'm even willing to put that maybe on social media, maybe on this platform to begin with, because that's a cool story. And that's how it actually is one of the best decisions I've ever made to microblade my brows because of what damage I did to them when I was younger because I didn't know any better.
Totally.
Now girls do. And again, that's the advantage that they have so much information at their fingertips when it comes to beauty, and they can pick and choose what they think is going to work for them. They don't have to choose all of it, and it just gives them options.
Totally. And I think trends, trends will always be there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm loving the trends that are going on right now because they're really focused on kind of, and it's probably, because of quarantine life, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about that real full kind of natural, organic look
Yeah.
and minimal. And I love it. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a place for it in our world, obviously. But I think that sometimes we think of overdone is kind of gives us more
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. And I
Mm-hmm.
disagree.
Right.
But yeah, no, trends are always going to fluctuate. And, it's just about kind of rolling with the punches. But at the same time, even as a professional, kind of being true to yourself and
Mm-hmm.
adopting what trends you're going to go with and not. And, I struggle with that with clients every once in a while. I think that I've really done a much better job as far as cultivating the clientele that comes to me for the art that I
Mm-hmm.
want to give.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, you've got these girls that have these huge eyebrows and they want to, they pencil in these huge brows and
Mm-hmm.
they want me to give that to them permanently. And I refuse, and there's artists that are out there that'll do it. And, I can give you a referral, but
Right.
it's really about natural beauty and
Mm-hmm.
channeling your natural beauty. And I know that my philosophy with permanent makeup is really just kind of enhancing what you've already got and working
Yeah.
with what's there. In most cases, obviously, there's times that I'm working with people that have nothing.
And that does make sense because when you have beauty inside, it radiates out, right?
Totally.
And I think through the pandemic, I have minimalized some of the beauty steps that I've done where, we are enhancing the features that we have, whether it's with makeup or, yes, permanent makeup enhancements. So I think that that is a great thing because you can feel good about what your natural beauty is with just a little bit of glam here and there. And the other part that social media and this pandemic, I think, has taught us is the creative piece. Professionally, I've pivoted and gotten really creative with a lot of things within the business. And obviously, there's been a need for successful selling. And also, that I see on TikTok, I see the creativeness from movement to makeup. TikTok is the bomb. You can totally get lost into it. And my algorithm is very positive, like women supporting other women, very inspiring things, then some makeup stuff, and then some cool dances and rappers, obviously. The most recent one is amazing, talented makeup artists that I hope make something of themselves within that industry. There are girls doing emojis. So it's to like a Katy Perry song, and they're doing these really cool emojis of, the peach or the butterfly or really the bee. Like their makeup is spectacular. And they're creating this in their bathrooms, in their bedrooms, and just how cool is that?
Too, if you think of it, it's like this generation, there's going to be this new focus on creatives, right? And like, I just think of my family, and my parents were, my dad's a mechanical engineer, my mom was in the IT world, and me and my one little sister also kind of went down the entrepreneurial track. And they always look at us and they think it's so funny, like, who taught you how to do that? Like, why would you ever think that, not because they're discouraging us, just because it wasn't what we were taught. And I think that, it's kind of started to evolve with our generation, but with our girls, it's going to be that much more where we're really seeing that you can be so successful in this creative world where we've always tried to kind of be conformed and, put into this box of your trajectory, like get good grades, get into sports, go to college, do the, and, fall into this kind of corporate world. And I think that there's such a new focus on expressing creativity and really cultivating that for our kids. And once again, there's so many more avenues and kind of platforms where they can kind of live their best life and show their work. And I think also too, like I think that the likes and the followers gets a little um it can, be a little distracting, but all in all, I think that it's what helps, motivate them and
True.
encourages them and reminds them that they really have such an amazing skill and talent.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
kind of cool. I just thought of that when you were talking, but
It's interesting because now we're conscious that people are watching, but I also think that it's a pretty cool thing that the social media and the access may show us things that we would have never known before, and we would have never known that that was even an option before. And I think that when your passion intertwines with what you do and that you love that, like that is success.
when did you start doing makeup? Like, what was your first
On
thing
my
that made
Barbie
you
dolls.
think?
Literally
Well,
on my
your aunt
Barbie
was
dolls.
an esthetician, right?
My
Before
aunt,
people were ever really
absolutely. So
estheticians.
my aunt was, back in the early 90s or late 80s. And I had my first facial when I was 11 years old. I'll never forget this day. I talk about it even in my book. I sat up, I was smelling the smells, feeling the feels, and just looked around and said, I'm going to do this.
Totally. What a cool thing too to feel that feeling at 11 years old.
Yes. And I knew it. And I knew, and that was also the thing about smell. Like it triggers a memory. Some of these smells,
Totally.
even to this
Sensory
day,
is so
with
important.
skincare products and makeup and things, like it's part of my life. I knew that it was part of my passion, and how I got exposed to it isn't a coincidence. It's certainly what my path was, and I found it, and I was very lucky to have that. And I didn't really know where it was going to take me. I never would have imagined myself here or doing some of the things I've done and travel. But, that was something that we talked about even recently in a conversation about travel and kind of bringing back those traditions. Some of
I
the,
miss travel.
I
so
know,
much.
we'll get back there. Again, your birthday, April, I mean, August, and, you're going somewhere soon. So
Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there. This has been a good pace, I think, and a good slow down.
It's interesting because I think that everybody, all in all, is like, it could be so much worse, right? Like for
Absolutely.
me, my biggest thing
Gratitude.
is the fact that my daughter goes to school every day. I'm like, I can't imagine if she didn't. I'm so grateful for her school and her teachers,
Right.
so that I can kind of continue to make my magic and grow in that realm. But it's funny because everybody has their thing that they're like, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. And I think for me, it's just having something in general to look forward to. And I think because travel is such an important thing to me, that it's like being able to go on those adventures and experience something new and different. And I'm just missing that so much. Like my bucket list is growing of places that I want to visit, and I'm just like, we're so stagnant.
Right.
But all in all, it comes down to having something to look forward to. And even with clients that I talk to, I think that that's kind of what we've realized is kind of that common denominator, is just having something. And I think what's so great for you this time of year is you have skiing, and you love to ski, and it's your thing, and you have your weekend little getaways to look forward to. And I love that for you. And I've got enough to keep me busy right now.
Right.
But like, I just want to explore. I want to see new things.
And I know we'll get there. I have that faith that we will, and that we're going to appreciate it even more when we
Definitely.
do. And the traditions that kind of come from even some of the stories that I tell and share with Sophia about my travels throughout the whole country and in Europe, when I even was in spas and learned from estheticians there. And it just, I love bringing those lessons back, and I know that we'll continue to do that. We're just, I guess, sort of on a pause, but there's so much to look forward to. There's so many things that I know is on our bucket list, professionally and personally. And, I've learned that the gratitude of each day is, what definitely inspires us to keep going and keep that needle moving and gaining momentum. So I'm really excited about even maybe the next episodes, that we maybe show some of those TikToks, and we show some of the lessons that we've learned and in our travels, and talk about some of those things that are still with us, that are so impactful, and keep it going.
Totally. I know we have we talk all day long on the phone. It's like, I mean, I think that as these episodes progress, we're really just going to let our hair down, so to
Right.
speak. You know, we're like
Absolutely.
keeping up with these formalities today. And it's like before you know it, like F bombs are going to be
Right.
flaring and
Right.
the real, oh, my morning was a shit show.
Yes.
Those real stories are
It's
going to come to
true.
light.
And
But
having
once again, authenticity,
Yep.
and I think
Yep.
that that's been, as we've chatted about doing that,
Yep.
kind of what we're looking for. And I know for me, I said this the other day that I don't know what my life would be like if I hadn't discovered my AirPods and podcasts.
Yes.
Because they've changed my life. And I feel like I'm multitasking when I'm like, folding laundry and doing the most mundane tasks, and I just feel like, once again, kind of wealth of knowledge at our fingertips, But I think that I want us to channel kind of some of the things that we gravitate towards when we listen to podcasts and kind of one of my new favorite, I tend to not do as well at, sourcing information and videos and things like that. That doesn't really capture my attention the same way. But I've been listening to lots of great kind of skincare podcasts. Honestly, I'm struggling with the skincare podcasts. I'm not really finding anything that I feel is like super interesting, which kind of makes me sad. I'm still exploring that, but definitely with the permanent makeup stuff, I'm finding some really, really cool podcasts, and it just kind of allows you to almost like, you feel like you're having a conversation with another professional because you're kind of like bouncing ideas, even though you're not. It's really a one-way stream, but you're getting ideas, and you don't have to agree with everything you hear, but it's just even interesting to get the perspective.
Absolutely. And you extract what you want from that. And I think I think that it is important to just stay inspired no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
And life is very fluid. So right now we're talking about some beauty things and life lessons and with that's again where we're yin and yang because you are very family at the moment. I have a 13-year-old daughter.
You are
so
free.
I'm sure I have a little bit more freedom in that way, but I'm also now dealing with other things. Like think about what in our shoes, what we were like at 13, 14, all of those life things that happen when you're starting to like boys or feeling insecure or all of that. And so I'm in a little bit of a different time in my life and also as a single mom. So trying to find that epic love and never giving up on that and knowing that it's out there and knowing it exists. So that's another whole other path that we'll discuss. And you're on this beautiful family ride and growth stage with not only your family but with your business, everything. This is going to be an amazing year for you.
I know.
With
lots
of things happening.
I'm like crushing all my goals.
Yeah.
And I know that I've made the steps to get here, but I also feel like the stars are aligning for me. And like, not to sound dumb, but it's really about kind of manifesting and having those.
You did.
Those chats that we have and talking these things into existence. And I knew I wanted to have a second baby and like finally happened for me. And I knew that I wanted to purchase my own space for my business. And I felt, as much as I was manifesting it, there was a part of me that felt that was so unattainable. Real estate is so competitive in Boston and especially the neighborhood that I'm in. And I really started feeling like I can save for the rest of my life and I can set myself up, and it's really just not for regular people anymore. And I've proven myself wrong.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be a wild ride over the next couple months. I've got like a crazy timeline that I need to fulfill before this baby comes.
And I believe in you. I know that you'll do it. And I can't wait to continue to share.
I just need your like
step
every day. Type A.
I am fine. I'll do it from my bathrobe in, my kitchen with my coffee. That's my favorite time of day. To share with my friends, especially if I can't see you like in person all the time. But I can't wait to watch you go through that journey and support you with that. And I think that as we wrap this up, one of the biggest things to take from it is anything's possible. Put it out there in the universe, dream big, and you can do whatever the fuck you want.
And make a plan, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you really instill in me is like,
absolutely.
I've always been decent with my lists, but I think it's like really having a strategy and writing down the strategy and organizing that. And I think that that's where you really are able to make like clear, concise goals come true.
And believe in it. There's so many quotes out there about if you don't ask, it won't happen. If you don't try, you'll never do it.
And they're so
So
cliche, but there's so much truth behind it.
it's very true. It's very true.
Love it.
So
The beginning of a beautiful thing.
absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you. And I love you.
I love you too.
I would give you an organ. I thought of that the other day. Side note, we'll talk about that later. But I do love you, and I am so happy that you're healthy and happy.
Thank you. It's been so fun to have our journey together.
It has, absolutely. So
bestie esties.
Absolutely. All right, we'll chat again next time.
See ya.